What's going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to take this time and promote an upcoming play that is presented by Elightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell. And that's called Love's Not Enough. That will be featuring this beginning this Friday at the Fairfield Community Arts Center, 411 Wessel Drive, Fairfield, Ohio, and that is area code 45014. Love's Not Enough is assembled with a cast of seasoned actors who will tell the story about the struggles of three besties, Rachel, Courtney, and Carla, and their spouses. Together, they endure the conflicts of life and its dose of reality. These couples truly believe that love alone will sustain them through the difficult times in their marriage. They slowly learn through their own stubbornness that it will take more than words and feelings to keep their marriage alive. This performance is 100% true, except for the parts that are created for a little sense of humor and drama. Love's Not Enough shines a light on difficult subjects such as the not so shameful topic of male infertility, the struggles of an amputee, the exposure of deep family secrets, and overcoming pain caused by religion. Get ready to experience the roller coaster of harsh realities with moments of tear jerkers and joyous celebrations. There will be four plays that will be presented starting on January 20th at 7 p.m., Saturday, January 21st, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and Sunday, January 22nd at 2 p.m. Now, I've been given the opportunity just to sit down with some of these cast members and talk to them and pick their brains about what it's like getting into theater. And one thing I could tell you that this has been a diverse group of men and women of all ages, from kids to adults, people with vast experience in theater to even upcoming first time theater cast members. I highly recommend, if you guys are in the area and you guys want to check out their um, play, is very sensational, and it will leave you with the direct message, captivating every moment. Love's Not Enough, presented by Enlightenment Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II. I encourage you guys to head out there, check them out, and I hope you guys enjoy these upcoming interviews that I have on display for you. Be sure to check out all the information in the worlds of sports at the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Thank you. We are joined by here with Haroon Khan, who plays Josh, right, in the upcoming play Love's Not Enough, that will be playing at the Community Art Center in Fairfield, Ohio, January 20th to the 22nd. Thank you for coming on and speaking with me. Haroon, how are you doing this afternoon?
First and foremost, Justin, thank you for having me on this. And I know you've probably had a very busy night, so happy to be part of the primetime nightcap. That's what I like to call it, at least. But
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty well and surviving the sudden snowfall that we're apparently having. But
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be flurries throughout just the afternoon. It's kind of picked up a little bit.
I guess you can't. The legend lives on of Cincinnati that you can't really decipher what kind of weather we're gonna have. But again, thank you for having me, and privileged to be on here.
Absolutely. So we're talking about the upcoming play, Love's Not Enough,
Mhm.
and that's written, directed. It's actually a revamp for a play that was played back in 2019. Terry came in, wanted to revamp it up, add some new things. It was based off of a true story. And you play a character of Josh, who is the fiance to Carla. You also
Yep.
serve in in Air Force. You're currently deployed, and there's you also expected to have a child on the way. Can you kind of just go a little bit more in depth of the role that you play as Josh?
Yeah, you set it up almost if not perfectly. So, like you said, I play the role of Josh, and it is towards the. I believe it's not giving anything away, but it's towards the later stage of the production, and kind of what you said. He is Carla's fiance, and he is deployed in the Air Force for an extended period of time, and Carla and Josh unexpectedly are like a surprise, or again having a child together,
Mhm.
and the outside elements are to remain a surprise, but
Yeah, of course.
it is kind of like a coming togetherness of not only everybody in the family and obviously in the production, but for Carla and Josh, both in their separate terms and obviously coming together. Obviously, I don't think anything trumps having a child together, or anything
Mm,
else
yeah,
comes close in having a child together. So it's kind of forces all coming together slowly but surely towards the end of the production. And as many people who are watching or not watching can relate, when a significant other is, man or woman deployed in the military for an extended period of time, regardless of the branch. It's one thing when you're expecting them to come home, and it's another thing when
mhm,
it's kind of like a surprise. So that's kind of the background of from Josh's perspective of coming home, but that coming home has a lot of layers,
yeah.
friends and family and Carla, and obviously the baby on the way.
You know, and you're playing this role, and regardless if you have 30 seconds on the stage or you're on the stage for an hour and a half, every
Mhm.
role is important to this play to becoming a success. So even your short, you say you have more of a role at the end of this play, it's still very much more important, because without, Josh and Carla, there's, you know you know I've been told through others that you guys combine, you guys together, you bring everything together. You guys are the bridge of this entire play that's coming up here. Love's Not Enough. Um, have you ever had any experience, in with military background before getting the cast as being in an Air Force?
Like on a personal level, like personal
Yeah,
background
personal
wise.
level. Yeah.
No, and I have no experience, which is why it's this beautiful thing called acting, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe just a little bit. But no, I've had no prior experience, but I do have, or in the esteemed company of being around the friend group who have had friends and distant friends, close friends, colleagues that have been in the
Mhm,
military. So from a personal experience, like what you can kind of take from all those experiences, not much
mhm,
um, directly, but as a performer, that's where the bread and butter is of kind of taking bits and pieces of conversations we've had with friends, or their stories and experiences of what it's like when their so and so is home
mhm.
from, and then once they're deployed, and that transition of you get
Yeah.
used to them being home to where abruptly you get used to them not being home. So I've had a few friends in the military, some friends who have served their time, and now uh, obviously abroad, and now they're done,
Mhm.
and so now they're back home. And so I've kind of, even though I've not had direct experience with being in the military, I've had indirect experience of kind of being next to or striking distance to people who have been in the military. So I kind of use that as inspiration a little bit, because I am lacking from that direct experience, and
Right.
it's kind of draw from that.
The only reason why I'm asking is because it seems like the cast has kind of been, the entire casting has been suited up to personal experiences that they can relate to every character. So, just a long shot, I was just asking if there was any better, closer connection that you have as, as Josh would play, as it being deployed in the Air Force. But you have a lot of casting. You've been an actor. It seems like have you been doing this for a while, or is this your first time, or as an actor?
No, and to kind of digress a little bit and answer the back half. As soon as maybe when Josh comes home,
Hmm.
that's probably the personal
Okay.
attachment of being in that situation of being away from home for a while, or
Yeah.
traveling a lot, or being on whatever project and then coming back after a few months. So from that point onwards, I could definitely relate of just a general idea of surprising someone or being in a familiar territory after an extended period of time. So maybe that portion of the military I can't relate, but as soon as
Yeah.
he steps foot on soil, that part I can relate of
Right.
being in familiar territory after a long time. Um, to about the part of how long I've been acting, I've been professionally acting since 2015, more or less. Probably this time of 2015,
Okay.
across a variety of mediums. So film, short film, major motion, a good amount of indie and features,
Mhm.
commercials and advertisements and magazines and
Yeah.
modeling. Believe it or not, this is actually the first theater production I've been a part of.
Okay.
Because normally, as a performer, you tend to stick to what you think you may be good at or comfortable at. So for my bread and butter, that is film. So theater, and I'm again very thankful that Terry and company reached out to me to not only take a chance on me,
Mhm.
but to see that vision or that prolonged vision of, yeah, I think he's whatever small talent he may have, can direct it to this. So this is not my first rodeo overall, but first stage production for sure. So I'm
And we're
looking
talking
forward to fun and a challenge.
Yeah, and we're talking about Love's Not Enough that will be played at the Community Art Center January 20th to the 22nd. Four performances altogether. Now, okay, so this is your first theoretical, theater performance,
Mhm.
correct? So,
Correct.
is there when you get ready mentally, physically, for this character for your role that you play, is it has anything changed compared to when you get ready to act, and act out stuff on, for film or for commercials, in that sense, or do you just is it just business as usual?
Uh, kind of a both. It is business as usual once you get in that zone, kind of.
Hmm.
The preparation obviously is a little different, which I can touch on in a second. But once you have prepped, that is business as usual. You're
Yeah.
whether it's film or theater, you're involved in that character. You are that character. You embody the past, present, and future of that character. The only, I guess, difference is that you get to relive this character for 4 performances in a row, or in this case,
Right.
2.5 days in a row. So that is
Yeah.
a little different. But in terms of preparation, I would say each actor actress has their own quirks and techniques and how they
Mhm.
approach it. I would say for me personally, I approach, again, since this is the first thing for theatrical wise, I approach this role more cautiously a little bit
Mhm.
because it is a more it's the typical live audience, and you embody that character. So I approach this a little cautiously in terms of I am not Haroon Khan playing Josh. I am Haroon Khan as Josh.
Yeah.
Where maybe to film or commercial, it is the same approach, but kind of like there's a safety net.
Yeah.
You could be that character as much as you want, but there is cut at some point. For theater, the cut is the end of the show,
Mhm.
and so it obviously is more intimate. And the more intimate a performance is, the more intimate your preparation becomes.
Yeah.
So mindset wise, it's the same, but knowing that there's a live audience and that you are Josh or whatever the character's name is, mentally it is a little bit more of like a long haul, long term
So, you've gotten a chance, of this is your first theater performance, but you've done plenty of films. So you've gotten a chance to see now both sides of the team, whether, you have a team in filming, right? And then you got, Terry's team, involvement of the cast in theater. What's the comparison? Similars, differences? Do you have a preference which one you like or which one's better?
between film and theater.
Yeah, like I'm talking about the casting and the team that you have behind the scenes, getting ready for the film, to set up the prep work, the family orients. Terry has a big family connection, and his team takes care of one another, and they lift each other up. Is that
Yep.
the same way that when you go into film, those teams do the same thing? Or are they more of like, okay, this is a job role, so I mean, you're just another name on the card. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually a very good question. I would say again, kind of a mixture of both, but not
Okay.
as much. I would say, preference wise, I would prefer film. because
Okay.
it is a more film in the terms of preparation and the familiarity of cast and crew, because usually film sets or duration wise are much longer. You may have multiple shows for a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months for theater, but a lot of film shoots tend to be longer, weeks to months on end, where not one day usually is the same.
Mhm.
The way I kind of foresee it is for theater, even though each performance, each opening night from the second night to the last show, uh, can be different. Someone may forget their lines and they may improv, or the audience, may react a little differently. But in film, all that is not there. So each shoot is its own little silo, if you will. So I would say I definitely prefer the film, atmosphere
Mhm.
experience. But the to your point of how you touched of, and Terry has done a very instrumental job of with his wife and with cast and crew of making everybody. This is not, in my opinion, love's not enough cast and crew. It's a family, and so
Mhm.
he's done a very good job from day one, since the day I was brought on board, at least, of making everybody feel like a collective family. And I think because theater has that intimate feeling,
Mhm.
it is much easier to feel like a family than film. With film, some days it can be kind of how you mentioned, of you're just a name on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Uh, but because it's so changing, and there's different shoots, and there's different locations, it kind of is more like business, because you have locations and permits and all that stuff. With theater, you're all under one roof, more or less. You're in your
Yeah.
house because you're a big family. So I would say more or less, the atmosphere of cast and crew, and behind camera and rehearsing and setting up, is probably the same for both.
Mhm.
But once the camera starts rolling for film, or once the audience, has sat down in theater, that's where that divide definitely starts to become very, very, very noticeable. But again, they're both the best of worlds in each of their own ways.
We're speaking with Haroon Khan, who plays Josh, the fiance of Carla, in the upcoming play "Love's Not Enough," aired in the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. Tickets still available. You got 4 performances over 3 nights. Now, you've had a lot of experience in film, and I'm sure coming over to theater, there are things that you could possibly take away from the theater aspect to help you better with filming, and there's vice versa, right? So what
Of course.
have things been that you've been able to enlighten Terry and help Terry out, from the knowledge that you have in film, carrying over to maybe um showing him in theater aspect, and then vice versa, if I clear that up.
If Yeah, yeah, no, no. To be very honest, I would say, if maybe this much, if that, I have been able to, because Terry has been a very striking and knows what he wants kind of a director. Like, there's not
Okay.
much, no matter how much talented someone is, I don't think they could, show or help Terry, because he's very good at what he does.
Mhm.
So, but if there is something that I may have shown, maybe just adaptability.
Okay.
I would say, in, again, theater, there's not, to my knowledge at least, again, usually you have maybe one, maximum two locations. So everything's kind of in house, and whatever
Mhm.
chaos or mess may happen is all, within four walls. For film, locations, weather, there's so many external factors, and, you know, cast and crew and everything. And so I would say, from what I can translate from film to theater, I would say maybe the adaptability, kind of, if things go wrong,
Mhm.
it's okay. Things, if and, if things don't go wrong, then it's not a normal production, because of course always, something goes wrong.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, from experience of films of short, medium, long, quick, fast, slow, large, big, whatever. I would say, um, that's probably something I've translated over. Um, First and foremost, and then from theater, kind of my takeaways, like like my learnings back to film, I would say, becoming more patient. For me personally, at least, I've realized in these past 2.5, almost 3 months, theater is a not a marathon. It is, a very, very slow paced, methodical performance. And it has taught me to, calm down, maybe pump the brakes a little, because film is very dynamic and ever changing, and scenes get shifted. But with theater, it's, again, since you are the character, there's no rush. You are that person. So it has taught me a valuable lesson, and still is, all the way up to when we perform next weekend, and probably after, to take it literally one sentence by one sentence, and the preparation and the build up is just very patient and very, very zen like, I would say.
So you're cast in this role, theater role. Love's not enough. Um, as you go through this journey, and there's a lot of stuff being told into this play. What is
Mhm.
one thing at the end of the night, when this is all said and done, that you want the audience to captivate and take home with you, or take home with them? I'm sorry, and that in the sense that you leave behind.
Sense of togetherness, I would say, hopefully, and I'm kind of using this opportunity to hopefully speak on everybody's behalf that's a part of this, not just me, of whatever their roles are, that every night for all 4 nights, that the audience, and if someone comes all 4 nights, even better, the same person, that they leave with, a sense of togetherness, that, oh, the actors and actresses and the performers on stage really struck a chord with me, as an audience member, for example, or with my performance in particular, kind of, the entire production is like, like a build up, and it's slowly getting to that to that full circle, and then with, obviously, of my portion of just closing that bridge and making everything just be uniform. So that would be my personal goal for just my role, but for the entire production, I would hope that every night for all those four performances, that the audience can relate, emotionally, and be attached to, when kids may be coming with their parents to the performance, on the way back home, they'll talk about the show, or maybe the
Yeah.
next day after, oh, thanks mom, thanks dad for taking me to this. Can you, like, can you believe this happened last night? Or, they talk about and have that discourse. So not only my part, but the entire production, I hope we are able to deliver that, because, again, this is the show for the people attending. So relatability and togetherness would hopefully be, my personal and everyone's message.
I mean, and hopefully, because Terry's looking to expand this even further, take it on a tour, cast
Mhm.
it around the world. Hopefully, one day, and I'm sure he has a great cast, here, and there's no doubt that he could potentially do that. Nervous thoughts about having to perform this 4 consecutive times? I mean, I could maybe assume that this could just be like doing takes over and over again on a film, but you're doing all of this, and like you mentioned, staying in a character from the start of the play to the end of the play, not being able to cut in and out. Any nervousness? Any you're feeling any weird? How you feeling about it?
For both theater and film, always nervous every time.
Yeah.
Each project for me always feels like the first, and it could also maybe be the last, but it always feels like the first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, definitely, there's always nervousness. There's always those jitters. There's always those bugs right before the moment before. And of course, since this is a live audience, that just ups the ante a little bit. So definitely will be nervousness, but something that I think we as a collective family are not prepared for, because
Mm-hmm.
Terry has done a really good job with the rehearsals and calming everybody's nerves. And we have a pretty diverse group of, some people's, it's their first time ever, or maybe, like in my case, first time for theater, or maybe their 10th time, or so there's a mix of everything. So that's kind of good to know that there's maybe someone else in the same boat as you, or maybe someone needs that uplifting, or you could be that calm to somebody. So it's kind of a mixture of everything. It is kind of like takes of
Yeah.
doing this within 2 or 2.5 days, 4 different performances, and each performance will have its own little vibe. It's the same story, but I look forward to that, because it's, again, it's not one performance is going to be the exact same thing. So it's kind of dynamic in its own, and it's a breath of fresh air also, because in film, if you do 4 takes, that the shot is the same, more or less. Where at theater, again, you don't know how the audience will react, and how your fellow co-actor actresses may react.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Of course, nervousness, but good kind of nervousness.
Well, listen, I don't know if anyone's really gone out there and talked to you, but I want to, personally just applaud you for being able to adapt and, take on this challenge, because when you're so used to doing things a certain way as maybe in how film does it, and then you transition to theater production, that's, a completely different thing. And you got to learn, a whole bunch of, new stuff, and to be be open and willingness to give it a try, and try to expand and broaden your knowledge, and experiences. That's just something that not many people take advantage of. So applaud you for being able to transition into theater and into being a part of Terry's play. Any other things that maybe coming up from you in the near future that we could share?
Yeah, love's not enough. No, I'm kidding. First of all, you're very sweet, and I appreciate your warm sentiments. It is an adjustment, but at the same time, again, want to thank the cast, crew, and obviously Terry for again seeing that in me, as well as my fellow cast and crew. For upcoming projects, there is a couple of films in the pipeline. Actually, this time last week, actually, we kind of made official. There's a short film that we filmed in St. Louis called Unsuitable. It's
Okay.
on Instagram or Facebook at Unsuitable Short Film. So
Okay.
it's kind of like an avant-garde film about a second generation um, Indian painter
Okay.
who has kind of proved himself not only to his family but to the art community, to kind of give me a chance to make my mark, literally. And so that it will be, we filmed about 75% of that here in America, and
Mhm.
then the remaining will be filming that in India in a couple of
Oh,
months.
really?
So
Okay.
that'll be releasing later this April, May, more or less, and then the full year long of festival run. So
Okay.
that is something that is kind of in the pipe works, and again, just 7 days old. So
Yeah. Yeah.
very attached to that, and so again, very looking forward to seeing where that goes as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to for the final production and watching that film. Um,
Appreciate it.
Haroon, I want to thank you for taking your time and coming on this program. I want to wish you best of luck in the
Thank you.
upcoming production of Love's Not Enough, aired once again January 20th through the 22nd. I'll be sure to get that information that you just mentioned about your upcoming film also down in the description in in this interview. So wish you the best of luck, and thank you again.
Thank you again, and I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you, Justin.
All right, take care.